problems, issues, and challenges faced by our constituents. And I don't know whether or not which one of the two countries has more advantage in terms of agriculture and in terms of forestry, because we belong to the same level of development. So agriculture, according to Rusto, is the lowest form of stage of development. And we have gone so much uh, in the first, second, and the third industrial revolution, which now becoming the battle cry of every ASEAN region. Because as we all know, the third world country is very much lag behind with this Western countries like the United States, the Belgium, the Japan, and the Great Britain. So we have the same nature. We have the same status in terms of agriculture and in terms of forestry. So my topic is basically not new to everyone, because I know that the academy is very much aware of the stages of development that we have had since since the era of revolution, which started in 1914, or let's say way back 1814. Okay. So the second revolution is also characterized by a dramatic change in the advancement of technology, and now the third is on the advancement of computer, the third, and now the fourth is more on the artificial intelligence. So what is the influence of this in agroforestry? Well, we know very well that in your graph, in your figures, we have the society as the focal point of development. And in terms of resource mobilization process, we speak of the three important systems. So we are mobilizing in terms of system in which the first component of a system is the production. So in terms of production, we always started with this what we call from seeds to merchantable crop. So the production started from seeds to merchantable crop. But what is the implication of this in terms of agriculture 4.0? It means that our production should adhere to the needs of the community. So we have to maximize. In fact, we cannot just maximize, but we have to optimize the production in terms of its product, products or services that could be derived from our land. Okay, so in terms of agriculture, our production is now being enhanced by the use of an intelligence machine. Okay. Now, in terms of utilization, we, as much as possible, would like to minimize wastage in processing of our products. So the utilization started from harvesting and after processing of what products that we could derive from it. So the next system that we could use in the mobilization of our resources is the conservation. Of course, no nations in the world would like to deplete its natural resources. No nations in the world would like to make the resources stagnant, of course. That's why we have to mobilize resources. So in mobilizing our resources, we need conservation. And this is the wise use of utilization. So if we adhere to these processes, production, utilization, conservation, we are in the process of optimization. Okay, what is optimization, by the way? Optimization is the act of choosing the most feasible and possible alternatives, not only in terms of quantity, but also in terms of quality. Okay. So this is the battle cry of the management, to become efficient and effective. And these two jargons are the very reasons why we are projecting the use of artificial intelligence as the new era of industrial revolution. Gone are the days that our production started from the low-level use of technology, such as use of manual labor, hand tools, and tractors later on. And now we are now using the robotics as the most efficient and effective mode of So this is the answer to our battle cry for the aging population, the use of robotics, the use of artificial intelligence. So here, we do not have so much deal of what the mobilization process would like to adapt. The key word here is that we have the same process of resource mobilization. We have the same dimension of resource mobilization, but the only thing different is that the application of technology. The application of technology which facilitate the intrusion of human resources and of course the entail cost of operation. So maybe this is one of the challenges that we in the agriculture and the forestry sector would have to assess. Okay, we have so very overwhelming concept that when we use technology, we will progress. But in every technology that we are employing, there is always a trade-off. And later on, what trade-off is that? Okay. Okay. So here, some of the jargons that we in the agriculture would have to learn under the new concept of agriculture 4. So agriculture 4.0 is it integrates no, excuse me. It integrates the series of innovation in order to produce agricultural product. So this innovation includes precision farming, information and internet and the technology and the big data in order to achieve greater production efficiency. So what is precision farming? Well, precision farming is a farming management concept based on observing, measuring, and responding to intra-field variability in crops. Precision agriculture research aims to define decision support system for the whole farm with expected input while preserving the natural resources. So, artificial intelligence is the ability of digital computer and computer control robot to perform tasks intelligent being of a human. So we are mechanizing the role of human here. So remote sensing, blockchain technology, Internet of Things, the LOT, IoT, are some of the important jargons that we should have to learn in the concept of agriculture 4.0. Now, LiDAR is one also of technology which give impetus to the development of more sophisticated technology, such as the use of drone in order to come up with the very high-tech or the hybrid stages of surveying, mapping, making an inventory, in other forms of geophysical and geospatial undertaking in our lands. So they very much emphasize on this point as the use of the drone, the robots, the data information, communication technologies. So these are the 4 important components that plays an important role in agriculture. It could be very futuristic in some way that our resources, our human resources need to be capacitated. So in this particular era, agriculture evolved with the science technology. It's only a matter of time until the Internet of Things reaches the farmscape. So what are the things that we have to expect under the concept of agriculture 4.0? One is the optimization of the production. So as I had defined a while ago, optimization is the act of choosing the most feasible and possible alternatives, not only in terms of quantity, but also in terms of quality. So meaning that in a real sense, in a real situation, we cannot maximize the productivity in our lands because of so many externalities, or let's say because of so many constraints associated to it. So the concept of optimization is only finding ways, finding the most feasible and possible alternatives that we can both have satisfaction in terms of our desire, in terms of our environment, and in terms of our profitability. So kumbaga, anyway, I am speaking Filipino. So it seems that we have to be at the minimum level of utilization. So here, in terms of optimized efficiency, this could be measured in terms of input and output relationship. So what is meant by optimized production in terms of efficiency, in terms of input output? The parameter or the indicator of efficiency is that when we achieve higher output than with our input, So means the profitability, which can be quantitatively measured in terms of input and output relationship. So the keyword of efficiency is that when we have output greater than our input, we have profit. Okay, so efficiency. Now the number two is that we have the optimized quality. So this is the desired, the desirability, the level of satisfactions that everyone could be derived from our undertakings is measured in terms of quality. So quality can also be measured in terms of the degree of satisfaction, the cost involved in every undertakings that we have, no matter how cost it is, but if it is being desired or being derived with greater satisfaction, we are at quality. Okay. So these two, the objective number one and two, are this what we call optimization. If we could achieve efficiency and the quality, we are optimistic. Okay, that's the battle cry of our agroforestry, because agroforestry is the dichotomy of knowledge in agriculture and forestry, which are married into one. Okay, so we both produce agricultural crops simultaneously with forest crops or tree crops in between or in a row or in a form of rotation. Okay. Then another thing is the minimize environmental impact. So when we speak of minimize environmental impact, this is the trade-off that we have to consider. Although we achieve greater production, but we distorted our environment, the resource valuation says that it is not yet an efficient, it's not yet an effective, because we are factoring in the environmental cost associated to our production. So this one is more weighted or more considered in the optimization theory. Number four is the minimized production associated drudgeries. Okay, associated drudgeries. What are these things? Later on, you will understand what a drudgery means. Drawbacks and other forms of heavy loads. So with the use of your information technology, you will you will minimize your drudgeries and even broken dreams. Drudgeries and broken dreams. Anyway, the next is that here in the agriculture 4.0, we have a dramatic change which can be compared with the analogical and mechanical technology with the use of Internet of Things, the IoT. So instead of mechanical technology, which resorted more of a manual, we can use the interconnectivity to communicate, to instruct, to utilize the senses without touching anything. So more of preservation can be assessed through Internet of Things. We cannot have direct contact, but we could access to what we wanted to be among our constituents. So another thing is that the no sensing available. So that was before. in a small scale farm. But in a larger farm, we have sensing technology. What do we mean by sensing technology? We can use senses, we can use things in order to implement our farming activities. Before, there was no data or record, but now we have dealing with big data. In fact, we already have this cloud computing. Everything which we can now store in the atmosphere are already being placed in our website. There is no such impossible thing around with the use of internet, except those which cannot be reached by our senses. A spirit cannot be reached by our senses. Next thing is manual labor. So the dramatic change of traditional agriculture is the use of the robotics now. Later on, you will see how it can be understood by every one of us. Now, the use of hand or animal power has been dramatically changed with automated equipment. No wonder that in a fingertip, in a finger of our senses, in a sensor, or let's say this is what we call the remote control, we can run an automobile, we can run an equipment, and we can run devices without much going to the field. So farmer experiences was also changed into a more satellite image and positioning with the use of GPS. Gone are the days that we are making surveys, when we are making inventory, when we are making, let's say, collections of information on the ground. We go directly to the ground and get data from it. But now with the use of GPS, with the use of remote sensing, and with the use of LiDAR, or with the use of other gadgets, we can now use to collect data from the atmosphere. And we can also have the location, etc., etc. So nothing would be irresponsible. So more indirect use of human resources has been transformed into the use of Internet of Things. Okay. So take note that robotics refer to the system or machines where increased level of intelligence are added to the machine for its autonomous work, or a new intelligent machine is developed for an existing application. Automated equipment refers to the existing system where some elements have been automated for transporting or working without human intervention. So this is the most dramatic change that we would want. We know very well that many young generations today, are not anymore attracted to agriculture because of the hardship of cultivation, because of the ruggedness of the terrain and the labor that entails so much terribly drudgery on the part of our youth. And even parents would not like their children to experience the problems of cultivating a very rugged terrain and yet derive low profit on it. So maybe the advent of Agriculture 400 will enhance more youth entrepreneurs, more youth farmers to replace our old farmers because of the easiness, because of the wonders of technology. Okay. So what is then the application, the information-based management cycle that an advanced agriculture would be? First, on crop sensor, we have crop sensor. Okay. The platform software, of course. Then the data. The data is with the use of artificial intelligence, or AI. And the decision, of course, the human resources. And the actuation, which could be used by the field workers or the rank and file people doing the field works. So this figure, the information-based management cycle for advanced agriculture, shows the stages and the element that intervenes in the digital sensor monitor the crop to generate data captured by a platform. So this process by specific software and artificial intervention options are provided that the farmers decide on how to act on crops directly with their own equipment or directly via automated equipment. So there can be no more going to the field. It should be the gadgets, it should be the technology which will provide us information without going to the field. So very easy, very easy for us to gather information with the use of our gadgets, cell phone, GPS, etc., etc., and of course your internet. With the use of your internet connectivity, you can have so many data that could be captured by your gadgets. So there will be a less human and field direct contact. That's why we are here. And in fact, we can use that now. With the use of the gadgets, we can communicate very effectively. And we can adapt this in farming, especially in monitoring your field works, in monitoring the processes by which your activity could be done. Okay. So monitoring is the most efficiently done with the use of our gadgets, with the use of our internet connectivity. So agriculture 4.0 offers many possibilities. So what are these possibilities? The drone and other sensing platform can provide information in real time. They produce image recapture, different agronomical parameters. They alert farmers of crops progress, the status of the soil, the surge of the risk and pests and diseases, and the development of weeds. So all these things are being monitored by your camera, by your GPS or LiDAR or sensors, which can be used instead of going to the field. So the state of interconnectivity will be something previously unseen in agriculture with a high level of information. It captures the analysis, processing between the various pieces of equipment and the system. Of course, all the information needs to be processed by the farmers who can then assess the optimal solution or required action. So with the use of your iPad, you can do anything on it. You can relay information in the field. So here, the equipment can make use of the sense data to optimize input used according to particular needs in the field. Okay. So if you look at the figure, there is what we call the remote senses, the graphic concept of agriculture in a farm operation level. So how we use that? It could be properly engineered. But in our situation today, many cannot afford to this system because, as we have said, the technology is costly. The technology is way futuristic, and we have to reflect so much of what will be its implication in our natural environment. Okay, this one is the use of agrobot. What the agrobot can perform a vast array of tasks. The first commercially available agrobot covers the three main tasks. One, eliminating weeds. Look at the figure. Your weeds can be done by your robots. So no human intervention. Monitoring of pests and diseases can also be captured by the use of its cameras. And more so on harvesting. We have the precision harvesting. If harvesting is done by human being, chances are damages could be greater than with the use of machine because of the precision, because of the timely and the sophisticated movement that can be controlled by the remote sensing. Okay. An agro-robot offers cost-saving opportunity as it reduces labor requirements. It limits the use of inputs, pesticide, and reduces yield losses resulting from the late detection of pests and diseases. So you look at the figure, that we have shown, figure 5. A concept of an agro-robot wielding mechanically with the beam of light. Okay. So here is another situation. Now, if you look at the setting, this is basically a wide bus of agriculture, and this can only be applied to a wide area, which cannot be applied in the areas like the Philippines could have a very small land holdings, and it would be futile to invest in this. So later on, we will see how do we reflect the use of this technology. The drone robots, the data and information communication technology are components, are combined together to get the desired result. Another thing in the harvesting shown, okay, here is also the use of cultivation machine for production. And also this one, the drivers of adoption. At present, the main driver of farmers to invest in agro-robot regards the economic and environmental aspects. The agricultural robot can eliminate these gaps and reduce the cost of the specialized manpower. Moreover, they can operate over a long period of time as they are not subject to limitation, physical and legal humans, of course. We know very well that humans are having low endurance than a machine. At harvest, some models are even able to pick fruits or even vegetables individually, depending on the stage of ripening. So why is it that this could be used in agroforestry? Because in agroforestry, we are producing nuts, we are producing beans, we are producing uh, corn, we are producing wheat, and other forms of intercrops that could be associated in our forest resources. So what are the challenges? What are the challenges and influences that been associated to the use of intelligence machine as a part of our technological advancement in the agriculture 4.0? Okay. The implementation of technology entails challenges and influences, and the main challenges for adoption of agricultural robotics are: number one, ownership and management of digital data. So when we speak of ownership, it's associated here the copyright. It is associated here who will have the control about the digital data. Okay, so of course the copyright says that he who generates the data, he who researches for the data has the lawful ownership. Okay. But in as much that we are utilizing a cloud data, which everybody has the right of ownership, no one can prohibit us from accessing to a cloud data. Of course, diba? So see here, the ownership lies on the degree of your privacy, or the ownership lies on the degree of your indulgence to get the data. Okay. So when we speak of management of digital data, in our country, we call this res nullius, a property which does not own any ownership. Everybody owns the data. So needless to say that when we are gathering data information from the atmosphere, nobody could prohibit us except the law, except the policies governing in every country. So we do not have so big deal about ownership nowadays because the accessibility is already at hand. You know, it's already been part about routine functions. Data could be accessed anywhere. Data could be accessed everywhere, and data could be accessed on the way how we could get that data, provided we follow the certain prohibitions and the policies being attached to it. and the privacy associated to it by the lawful owner. Okay? So no big deal. These challenges could be suppressed. Now, in terms of capacity, when we talk of capacity, we are referring to the capacity of human resources to access, to utilize, and of course, to manipulate the use of our technologies. So needless to say that at present, the battle cry of the third world country is the capacity to access to that technology. We know very well that the technology is expensive, and our farmers are poor, and our upland farmers are handicapped. Capacity to access to that technology. So farming systems is also one of the influences that affects. So farming system adaptation. Will this technology adapted in the Philippines or will this technology adapted in Indonesia? Okay. So our farming system could be influenced by the type of intelligence machine that we would like to use. This is the prime consideration. Can we, in agroforestry, we know very well that agroforestry is a multiple use concept on the land management. Whereas the application of AI in many advanced countries is on monocropping system. Now remember that agroforestry is a combination of two or more resources which could be produced simultaneously or could be produced sequentially. The use of robotics could be complicated. The use of robotics in agroforestry could be futile if you get it right. Because we are having this what we call the rugged terrain. And of course, complex socio-biophysical system. Unlike what you see on the pictures, most of the agricultural productivity, the lands are smoothly wide, vast terrain, which the machine could perfectly do without much. There is some homogeneity of the sites which cannot bother the functions of an intelligence machine. So in terms of application in agroforestry, we can say that there is a need to have a complicated machine to capture all the growing systems in the forestry. The diversity of the environment could highly be distorted with the use of our intelligence machine. So yun ang drawback. Those are the challenges that influence. Of course, the purchase price is much. The IT infrastructure could also be complicated. The technical maintenance and servicing, of course, it doesn't matter anyway. But associated to the use of intelligence machine is the technical maintenance and servicings that we would want to make or that we would want to prepare because we want to optimize the use of the machine. If there is no technical maintenance and servicing, well, it's only a one-shot deal activity for us. We cannot make the use of the machine durable. We cannot reuse that in so many times, without technical maintenance. So this is a challenge. So another thing is the society and culture. Well, you know very well that traditionally it would be a hard time for us to conclude that indeed this machine could be of great help. Because as I have said before, there is an associated trade-off on this matter. The use of intelligence machine reduces the use of labor. The unemployment rate will soar high. And the use of this what we call intelligence, the use of software, the use of software versus hardware can be more challenging. And the process of monitoring could also be an issue, since the society and culture play a very significant role. Okay. The influences of the machine can be negatively captured by our society because of the inherent feelings associated to our human resources. It would be hard for you to be monitored because you have inert feelings which cannot be captured by the machine. So society and culture, of course, not much with the society, also with our culture. It is always a culture for us to be like when we are getting old, we have to be exposed field on the field in order to renew our vigor. As we get old, we tend to be more tendency. There's a more tendency for us to be exposed on the field so that we can rejuvenate our life. So anyway, the optimization and the use of resources mobilization is also a great challenge. As we have said, which of which is better, which of which is sophisticated, which of which is desired by majority. Not all the technologies that we will be showing in the future will be captured by our generation. It has always been a practice, and always been an experience of us that we met the technology in the future with great desire. When there is a new technology, we meet it with great pride, with great celebration. But at the end of the day, we regret because we did not reflect. Okay. So is it really an optimized use of resources, which is our battle cry? Okay. So developing countries in agriculture robotics perspective, in agriculture and forestry, there are two main exist in terms of automation in agriculture. One, the creation of scraps of new equipment to perform different operations or service serves as multi-purpose platform for a range of tasks, similar to be performed by a tractor when fitted with the right implements for a specific farm. Okay. Then another is the conversion of standards agricultural equipment into an autonomous tool, though the use of sensor and automatism designed to replace the physical nature of the farmer's faith. Next. So in some developing countries, mainly in our region, the Asian region, the domestic industry of small machine and engine, including machinery repair and servicing, has expanded in recent decades and has the potential to form the basis of local autonomy or autonomous equipment industry, okay, as cited by Biggs. So here are some of the important importance that we could achieve in terms of the use of your intelligence, use of your application of your agriculture and forestry. So look at it. The multiple application and possible uses of agrobot can provide important support to rural livelihood. Of course, livelihood, especially once the Internet of Things, IoT, Internet of Things, is further developed. Why? Many of our youth are already inclined to the use of ICT. Many professions are adhering to the Internet of Things. For example, simple wheel platform that follow a person carrying a smartphone could help to carry the goods, drinking water, or heavy tools, significantly reducing drudgery and increasing productivity for a person who relies on their own muscle power. So even the disabled person can now use to manage a farm with the use of our internet connectivity. We can monitor the field without going to the field. So it reduces consumption of fuel wood in deforestation. So this is a positive effect. Produce fuel and electricity at the local level, and of course, make good fertilizer, reduce cooking time, and of course, the reduction of drudgeries or worries, drudgery. So the human can become multiple with the use of gadgets. Okay. So what is the contributions of agriculture to sustainable development? One, improvements of livelihood, food sovereignty and adequate nutrition, creation of employment, closing technological division, and sustainable resource management, and impact on rural migration dynamics. Okay. So here are some of the sustainable development goals that could be associated to the use by the artificial intelligence. Poverty, of course, zero hunger, decent work, economic growth, industry, infrastructure, responsible consumption, etc., and life on the land. So here, to have the concluding remarks, according to FAO, while agricultural robots are still in the early stage, there are very clear indication of their potentials. Of course, the challenges ahead are not only technical but economic, in particular, with regards to capacity building and the need to fully uh, okay, and the need to fully achieve economic, in particular with regards to capacity building, need to fully unless the principle and technologies involved. However, given their versatility, okay, fully understand the principle and technologies involved. However, given the versatility, agrobots will not able to perform tasks under conditions that are by nature very labor intensive and thus make an important contribution to improving sustainable crop production and the livelihoods of smallholder farms in the country. Agricultural robots present an opportunity to increase crop production efficiently, improve agriculture sustainability, and bring innovation and advanced technology to a new era. According to FAO, has an important role to play in this process, pushing the inclusive development of this technology and ensuring that the agriculture technology in the form of automated tools. And bots are helping to enhance and promote principle of sustainable intensification of agriculture. Okay. In my final concluding remark, the quest to improve farming system to increase profitability is now at hand because of the advent of the fourth generation of agriculture and agroforestry technology. But like other technologies that we adopted, there are trade-offs that associates with it, like our GMO, genetic modified organism. With all these development trends, the question is who really benefits from it? The countries whose main source is through manual labor in the farm via low-level technology, or the highly rich countries in the mass high consumption stage of development. Will it create more polarity between rich and the poor? We also must reflect before we regret. Thank you so much and God bless to each and every one of you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Lies Celerino, for his interesting topic. Yes. Yeah. So now we will invite to the next speaker, Mr. Wardana, with his topic about information technologies in agribusiness. So please welcome Mr. Wardana S. Hood, MSE. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you.
Madagog man ako.
Okay, bagaimana? Bogor Agricultural University, Agricultural Faculty, Master of Agricultural Industrial Technology. And then his skills, computer programmer, that is include Visual Basic Language, PHP and Python, and programming book writer in Elex Media Publishing Jakarta. That is a little bit about his CV. So for this good chance, I will please to Mr. Wardana to present his topic.
Thank you. Give me a chance to present my presentation. The title of my presentation is the information technology. Okay. Before I give the presentation, I will show you the map of presentation. It's about agriculture. First of all, I will tell about food income from agriculture, and then from the agriculture, we will talk about information technology or IT, and the information technology or IT in uh, 4.0, we will talk about artificial intelligence. From artificial intelligence, we will talk some of artificial intelligence like gene editing, threat opting, drone, expert system, and robotic. Uh, After that all, we will talk about big data from internet and the company. I think it is need to me to give information about big data because in 4.0 we will always talk about big data because there are so many big data in our world, and from the big data we will continue about data science who can handle the big data. The from data science we will talk about software programming language. Okay. First of all, we will talk about agriculture. Okay. Next, the introduction. Agriculture, as we know, agriculture give food and income for farmer. But for make efficiency, we will need information technology. Next. Nah, to solve this problem in agriculture, like fulfillment or of increasing demand for food, poverty, and malnutrition reduction, we can use technology because this present time, every sector, as we know, has benefit from the impact of technology. So I think has agriculture. Farmer depend on information technology for many things, not just in managing farm operation. In fact, information technology has changed the way in which farmer manage crop and livestock. Next. Now farmer can use a mobile phone, as you know. There are so many mobile phone. Me and my father, my son, everyone in the world, I think, use a mobile phone. Agriculture can use a mobile phone to access customized and actionable agriculture information in real time. It could represent how these communities secure and improve their livelihood. By making the right investment today, while many agriculture technician officers are restricted from visiting farmer in person, especially in COVID-19, we can kickstart digital adoption and start to close the income gap that has long held rural areas back. Next. Now, here is the some information technology which can use in agriculture. First, marketing information system which give the and manage the data of marketing, extension information system, farm information system, warehouse information system, and geographic information system. Okay, for the emerging technology, now we can use artificial intelligence. It's refer the simulation of human intelligence in machine that are programmed to think like human and mimic their action. The term may also apply to any machine that exhibit traits associated with a human mind, such as learning and problem solving. So it is the point is how to make the machine is clever like a human. For example, AI is a smart assistant, you know, like Google Assistant, Siri, uh, from Amazon, and Alexa from uh, Apple. This is mapping and prediction tool, manufacturing and drone robot, Optimus personalized healthcare, treatment recommendation, conversational bot for marketing and customer service, Robo as Fisher for stock trading, spam filter on email, yes, like Gmail. You may see how our email can filter what we don't have yet. Social media monitoring tool for dangerous content or false news, some artificial recommendation from Spotify and Netflix. Next. Okay, gen editing, it is about how to make a plan or novel. It can use artificial intelligence like genetic algorithm, I mean. Gen editing is one of suite modern biotechnologies designed to change genome of living organism for health and or economic benefit. It allows scientists to make small and precise change to genome of plant, animal, and human. To that, its primary use has been in human health. However, there are many emerging applications for food and agriculture. Next. In plant, gen editing is performed on culture plant cells, which are then generated into whole plant, resulting in improvements such as disease, resistance, doctoralency, or the absence of allergen. In animal, gen editing is performed on the single cell that develops into an embryo, which grows into an animal. Gen editing has created improvement to that such as polled cattle, in exact identification for poultry and virus-resistant pig. Okay, here is the example of gen editing to make a plant novel than before. It can use genetic algorithm from the AI. Okay, next. Yeah, we can call that genetic modified organism. It is about GMO, genetic modified organism. Okay, next. I think this next. Okay, the next AI, the popular AI is about Internet of Things, or we can call that IoT. The IoT is network object that are connected wirelessly using sensor can transmit information to each other or with wider network without human intervention. Connected object can include human, animal, plant, and infrastructure. Example, equipment, building, and etc. Talk sensing data is not new. Technology advancement is cost, quality, and robustness of sensor and enabling data analysis and connectivity technologies have accelerated the potential of the IoT agriculture. Next. Okay, here is the example of a IoT equipment. There is a Raspberry Pi sensor. Okay, it is the intruder detector we can use in IoT. If intruder detected, maybe like a pet or human, the buzzer will automatically active and the information will be displayed on LCD screen. And here is the humidity sensor. We put in the soil. The humidity sensor detect the groundwater content in the soil, and if the value is below the standard, the water pump will be active to increase the water content. So we can control the humidity of soil. Here is the report of IoT, like leaf disease detector. It saw foliar disease for specific plant using a VI camera attached to Raspberry Pi. Based on the image processing technique, certain disease of leaves will be detected. The pack is also display temperature and humidity and detection of intruder in a given field. Next, IoT device collect data. It can improve grower and including the ability to cut costs, improve yield, monitor crop, generally increase seasonal awareness across the farming operation. Field sensor connected to the IoT can record information regarding soil moisture, natural level, and so on. In terms of agriculture or food, implementation of the IoT along supply chain has the potential to bring transparency in provenance to consumer. It as well as improve food quality and reduce food supply issues and food fraud. The IoT will also have give customer confidence in the verify of claim they may see on marketing material, for example, around animal welfare or environmental stewardship. Next. Okay, the example EA is drone. Drone is defined as an unmanned radio control aircraft that can be operated remotely or autonomously through software managed flight plan in their embedded system on board sensor and GPS. Drone can collect multispectral. He capture in surface of Earth thermal and visual imagery while flying. The data it gather provide farmer with insight into the whole array of metrics. Plant health plant counting and yield prediction. Plant height measurement, canopy cover mapping, field water font mapping, scouting report, stock file measuring, chlorophyll measurement, nitrogen content in wet, dryness mapping, and wet pressure mapping, and crop spraying, and so on. There are so many useful of drone. Okay, next. Expert system, it is how to make a machine have diligent like expert. Expert system is an interactive and reliably computer-based decision-making system, which it uses both fact and heuristic to solve complex decision-making problems. It is considered at the high level of human intelligence and expertise. The purpose of an expert system is to solve the most complex issues in the specific domain. So the expert system can resolve many issues which generally would require a human expert. It is based on knowledge acquired from the expert. Yeah, it is the diagram or image. So how the expert give the knowledge to the system, and the programmer make a rule engine, then enterprise. Hey, what? And then user can interact with the expert system. Okay, here is the simple of rule engine. It is make if else rule back from the user given system, and system classify and identify to make a decision. Okay, next. Okay, robotic is the science and technology of mechanical mobile structure functional under some form of automated control. Robotic technology is being utilized with machines that can substitute for human to increase efficiency or complete tasks demand to danger, dull or impossible for human. In industries like logistics, mining, healthcare, military, manufacturing, and agriculture. Okay. In agriculture, the use of robot to complete tasks such as dairy making, harvesting, spraying, surveying has replaced the need for human labor and delivered benefits including higher quality of fresh products and lower production costs. Robotic and automation technology also had the promise to provide a grower with greater knowledge of the state of their operation and capability for acting in real time to increase efficiency, reliability, productivity, while minimize an environmental impact. Here is the simple of robotic in agriculture, harvesting and spraying the plant. Okay, next. Now, from the equipment, internet and company, we can find the big data. Big data is a term for large and complex set of data in which traditional method of processing data are insufficient. Next. Big data emerged from the early 20s data boom, driven forward by many the early internet and technology companies. Software and hardware capabilities could, for the first time in history, keep up the massive amount of unstructured information produced by consumer. New technologies like the search engine, mobile device, industrial machine provide us much data as companies could handle, and the scale continues to grow. Right? Increasingly, the organizations today are facing and more challenge. They have access to wealth information, but they don't know how to get value out of it because it raw form in a semi-structured or unstructured format, and as a result, they don't even know whether it's with keeping or even able to keep it for the that matter. Next. There are three characteristics of defined big data. We know that big data from the volume, variety, and velocity. It is, you can see the figure one. The data is changed from the structure to unstructured and unstructured, from bit to streaming data to terabyte capacities to zettabyte. So the big data is grow bigger and bigger. Next. Big data analytics led to more precise analysis that help to bring more accurate decision making. So we can use big data to make decision making. What is the better decision making? To better perform, big data are collected either top structured and unstructured data source. It could be from online or offline data. Unstructured data can come from social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on. While structured data source can come from internal database of organization. In business, both sources are used to understand the pattern of the customer. I think the big data is need to know by the agriculture expert, because if we want to win in the competition in marketing, we must know how to handle big data. Okay, business analytics is giving data management supporting tool to analysis, store, present result, comprehensive result, yet user friendly form structure and structured data are biggest challenge in big data analytics. It is require a new assessment of tool and method in order to gain and expect value. For instance, it is a big challenge for combining CTP record, audio conversation, social network activities, CRM record to refer pattern. Now, to handle big data, we need data science. So what is data science? Data science is an interdisciplinary field that use scientific method, process, algorithm, and system to extract knowledge and insight from any structured and unstructured data. Data science is a concept used to tackle big data and include data cleansing, preferencing, and analysis. Data science gather data from multiple sources and applying machine learning, analytic, and sentiment analysis to extract critical information from the collect data set. They understand data from a business point of view and can provide accurate prediction and insight that can be used to power critical business decision. In turn, the system generates insight which analysis and business user can translate into tangible business value. Next. Okay, if you want to be a data scientist, what we must know? First, we must know about machine learning. I will give you the present next in like tech. Strong knowledge of a strong knowledge of Python, source scale. It is the kind of language program Hands-on experience in SQL database coding apply to work with unstructured data from various sources like video and social media, and understand multiple analytic function. Okay, next. The data analysis is usually the person who can do the basic descriptive statistic, visualize data, and communicate data point for conclusion. They must have a basic understanding of statistics, of reflections of database, the ability to create a new view, and the perception to visualize the data. Data analytics can be referred to necessary level of data science. So, what is the difference of data science and data analytics? Data science is an umbrella term encompass data analytics, data mining, machine learning, and several other related disciplines. While data science is effective to forecast the future based on the past pattern. Data analysis extract meaningful insight from various data sources. What does data science do? The data science do first take a coding, know how to math and statistics, and how communication with other. So it is the need modern data scientists, math statistics, programming database, domain knowledge and soft skill, communication and visualization. Okay, next. Okay, I have told you about machine learning. Machine learning can be defined as the practice of using algorithm to extract data, learn from it, and then forecast future trend for the topic. Traditional machine learning software is comprised of statistical analysis, predicate analysis, that is spot pattern and get hidden insight based on perceived data. The good example of machine learning implementation is Facebook. Facebook can gather our information, what you have done, and your history. Similarly, when Amazon recommends product or when Netflix recommendation movies based on past behavior, machine learning is at work. Okay, here's the difference of artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. Next. Machine learning needs human to extract, but deep learning does not. Deep learning can learn how to how to classify the object. Okay, next. Okay, there are so many software in internet, and it is free to handle the big data. First, key name we can download at www.keyname.com. Keyname make understanding the data and design data science workflow and reusable component. Accessibility to everyone by being intuitive, often constantly integrating in new development. You have statistic feature, but have machine learning feature too. It can clustering and reduction the data, visual data with classic like bar chart, scatter plot, and so on. Next, it is the GUI of Keyname. You can download it, and it is free. And the tutorial is many we can find in YouTube. Okay, next. Okay, second software is Rapid Manner. It is free too. We can at https rapidmanner.com. Rapid Manner is a data science platform development for non-programmer research for quick analysis of data. So when you use Rapid Manner, you don't need language program skill. The user has an ID in their mind and easily create a process, import data into them, run them over, and throw prediction model. There are so many features in Rapid Manner, like random forest, gradient boss, clustering, Outlier event visualization output. Next. Here is the GUI of rapid manner. There are so many tutorial in a rapid manner, so we can learn it by yourself. Okay. Programming language. In data science, sometimes we need a programming language. The Python is a famous programming language to handle big data. It is free too. We can download at three W Python or G. Python is generally available to code in comparison to other popular languages such as Java. And the biggest feature for me from Python is if we want to make some code, we just need short code compare with Java or C++. And besides that, Python can use in IoT machine. So if you learn Python, you can use it many things. You can make a website application, make a desktop application. There are so many benefits from learn the Python language. Okay, next. Python has been shortlisted as the programming language of the choose data science. It is the most popular language in the world and has passionate community of users. So there are so many users of Python language. It is free and flexible. It offers easy syntax that cut the development time. It provides machine learning library for scientific computation. This language is good starting point for data science who plan to experience a lot of before jumping into the real and hard data cleansing work and who want to develop complete application. Next. Here is the Python website. You can download it from it. Next. Next programming language is R language. We can download at rproject.org. The R language is mainly used statistical data processing, graphing, its capabilities for data cleaning, data reduction, data analysis, report. It is like MATLAB, if you know that. But and R can perform complex mathematical operation by using single command. But we cannot make a desktop application like Python. Okay, next. Okay, there is so impact of the AI. First, economic improvement and progress, because we know the AI make our activities to production efficiency. We can reduce the yield losses, increase. There is not limitation from the human because it is automatic. Point two, change business process and model, because there are so many applications like warehouse information system which can sort the supply chain management. But the impact of AI is need a bigger capital, because the purchase of equipment is rather expensive. And then the impact of the AI is about security and privacy. As we know, because the AI using the electric equipment and the connect with in internet system, so maybe possible hacker can take over your account to control the AI. So we will need hard security for that. Okay, next point is about standard and back. Back, no. Standard and interoperability is about the standard how the equipment device connect well each other. And grid energy equipment because the equipment of AE like internet opting need electric power, so the user must give or have energy supplier. Disrupt technology, it is about the device of AE like IoT. If broken, it will be garbage and maybe violate the natural environmental issues. It is about the security, privacy, the owner. If we put data from our technology or our IoT to cloud, maybe the owner of cloud or management of digital data can use your data to his personal use. Who can ensure that if the data manager using is illegally? Rules and legal protection, it is about our profile, our activities history. Sometimes we don't want to solve our activities, but the system of AI can record our activities, so it can break our personalities. Next. The conclusion of my PowerPoint is there are many positive and negative values of information technology. One of the positive values is helping human work or activities if in the accordance with the procedure. However, there are also negative values from the efficiency of information technology and IoT, including financial, the big capital, and the use of information technology or IoT is not an easy thing because the investment may reach millions of rupees. Therefore, study is needed in understanding the factor that influence the success or failure of the application of this technology. Okay, I think this all from me. Time I give the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for your presentation, the presentation from Mr. Wardana. Because we have limited time, so I would like to invite the last speaker of our international webinar today. I would like to invite Mr. Angelo Francis Atole as the head of Department of Animal Science, CBSUA, with his topic about agriculture 4.0 in animal science. Okay, please welcome Mr. Angelo Francis Atole. Time is yours.
Of the two institutions collaborated for the CBSUA, headed by our president, Dr. Alberto N. Naperi, to the administrators of University of Muhammadiyah, Buton. Good morning.
Morning.
The organizers of this webinar, once again, good morning. Today, I will be discussing Agriculture 4.0 in animal production. I am Angelo Francis Atoli from the Central Bicol State University of Agriculture. And before I formally start my lecture, I would like to present the overview of my topic. First, I will discuss how did we arrive into Agriculture 4.0. Second, why do we need Agriculture 4.0 at present? Third are the challenges that animal industry faces in agriculture 4.0. And fourth is the summary of my presentation. And lastly is a take-home message to think of. So to start with, okay, so to start with, the first revolution in agriculture was the use of draft animals in farming. Then brilliant people invented equipment that are equipped with a combustion engine like tractors to hasten tilling of the land. Because of the increasing knowledge in science and technology and the environmental hazards of inefficient use of resources, people developed the precision agriculture. This includes the use of drones in fertilizing of crops, application of pesticides, and the like. Then, to hasten the operation, uh, in a more precise way, cloud connection is now being used by farmers, and this is agriculture 4.0. So farmer uses internet through their smartphones to monitor their crops and animals. Now, the next slide is why agriculture 4.0. We have an increasing population, therefore, we need to produce more food in the most efficient way. For example, by 2050, the world population is estimated to reach 10 billion people, and we need to produce 70% more food to feed this number. Another challenge is the animal welfare issues our animals are facing today. Many countries, especially the third world countries, observe less the welfare of their farm animals. But this is opposite for developed countries like in Europe and the US. In these countries, citizens affect positively the government as to the welfare issues. Therefore, government find ways to encourage farmers to promote the better welfare of their animals. For example, in the Netherlands, dairy cows are grazed for certain periods in a year. In return, farmers receive incentives. For laying hens, battery cages will be banned soon. Producing more food emits more greenhouse gases to the environment, and cattle contribute more into this. They are the less efficient converter of feeds into products such as beef and milk when compared to other farm animals like broilers and hogs. Therefore, there is a conflict for land use. Agricultural lands are converted into industrial or residential lands. So what we do is we convert other lands, such as forested lands, like in Brazil, to produce soybean. We deforest in order to use the land for agricultural purposes. In worst cases, some bodies of water, such as seas, are reclaimed for a more profitable and productive investments, like in Dubai for tourism. The trade-off is we destroy the wildlife and thus affecting negatively the diversity of species. Unfortunately, this has a negative effect at present and in the future. Lastly, are the calamities such as flash floods, typhoons, extreme drought that we are experiencing. For example, in the Philippines, we have approximately 20 typhoons a year, and some of these are really devastating, like what happened last year. We were hit by 3 strong typhoons at short intervals. We need to make agriculture resilient and sufficient. For these reasons, the animal industry faces a greater challenge under Agriculture 4.0. Well, first, we need to make animal production environmentally and economically sustainable without sacrificing the volume of produce. The environmental resources should not be exploited to the extent. Have in mind that not only the environmental and economic sustainability that we have to consider, but we have to consider as well the safety of our produce for a better welfare of consumers. How can we achieve this? We need to produce meat that is safe and ethical. For example, in the Netherlands, that they're studying the potential of laboratory meat. The meat is produced in vitro, meaning a cell from a live animal will be cultured in a laboratory to regenerate in a media. So the food that we serve must be free from hazardous chemicals. Another example is that the excessive use of antibiotics and hormones in animal production may affect negatively the well-being of consumers. The food additives that we use in order to augment the quality of products, if you can recall, the melamine issue in milk was a great problem way back. The aforementioned issues can be partially remedied using innovative technologies in order to make animal production efficient and effective. For example, cows are installed with a tracking device in order to monitor and observe their movement and behavior rather than the traditional way of following them in the pasture throughout the day. We need to build animal facilities wherein we can manipulate the internal environment when the external environment is less favorable, for example, those that are practiced in Israel. And these are now being adopted in the third world countries, for example, like Philippines, maybe Indonesia. They are investing on it as they realize the negative effects of unfavorable environment to the performance of their animals. Another is the use of alternative protein feed sources in animal production is now being studied. For example, algae has a greater potential as protein source for animals. When compared to fish meal, the volume of produced depends on the volume of catch. Therefore, the availability and supply is not dependent on the catching of fish. Another is the use of super sperm from superior bulls. Bull traits are matched with the cow traits in order to produce offspring that are better than their parents. The technique is not just by inseminating a cow with a bull semen, but a scrutinized matching of traits is performed. This is to correct some of the inferior traits of a superior cow in order to sustain the genetics for high milk production in the next offspring or in the next generation. Genetic modifications to meet the needs of the future also exist. For example, the extreme growth have urged scientists to develop and breed featherless chicken. The feed that is intended for feather growth and maintenance goes to muscle development. In fact, an efficient way of producing broilers. But there are trade-offs. Anybody? Well, roosters have difficulty in mating hens because they lack wing feathers to flap and balance during mounting. Another is the breeding and selection of Belgian blue cattle. Muscles produced are bigger than a usual cattle. Therefore, more meat is produced per unit of animal at a given amount of resources. Of course, there are trade-offs when we do this. Example is that difficulty in giving birth may be experienced by heifers due to relatively large cubs. Vital organs are reduced due to the occupancy of muscles in the abdominal wall. Another is that animals have discomfort because heavier they are, the more difficult they will move. And this is similar in dairy cows selected for big udders in order to produce more milk. And this is linked to the next slide that I will present. Animals must be raised in a more welfare-friendly manner. In Europe, citizens are very vigilant as to the welfare of farm animals. They will protect the animals as much as they can, so they will protest a farm if they saw anomalies. They may refuse to buy their produce in the market as a form of protest, or they will complain to the government. Therefore, the government should act on the issue and farmers must comply. Otherwise, farmers will be penalized. Broilers or layers are raised in range by allowing them to access the pasture instead of completely confining them like what we are doing. Consequently, animal welfare is violated and we don't like that. The use of robotics in animal production is now being enhanced for efficient animal production. For example, there are modernized dairy farms that when high-producing cows entered the milking parlor, rotation slows down in order to complete milk collection. And this is a humanless maneuver. The machine per se performs this. Relatively, body condition scoring may be performed by a scanner robot. When a cow enters the chute, the machine scans the cow and tells the body condition score at a relatively short period of time. And rather, may also give the information on the amount of diet that should be given in each cow, instead of using manpowers to perform body condition scoring alone. Well, to summarize my presentation, industrialization in animal agriculture is driven by the citizens affecting the government and the environmental issues brought by inefficient animal production. Therefore, the sustainability of agriculture 4.0 in animal production is welfare, economically, and environmentally challenged. But have in mind that there are trade-offs when agriculture 4.0 continues. Unemployment rate will increase. Many people will lose their jobs, especially those with less favored skills and specialization. On the other hand, IT experts and the like will gain more because their specialization is in demand. The culture in agriculture will change. The next generation of farmers may forget the old and traditional way of farming, like what our ancestors did. Human attitude may affect the speed of adopting agriculture 4.0. More educated farmers and developed countries may adjust rapidly when compared to third world countries. So we have to think and decide smartly for a better world. And that ends my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.